Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a look at something you've probably felt firsthand if you've ever stepped foot in a gym, or honestly just carried a ridiculously heavy load of groceries up a flight of stairs. We're talking about the science behind getting stronger. But we're going to look at this a little differently today. We aren't just talking about lifting heavy stuff. We're actually going to look at muscle growth as a biological learning process. Seriously, think of your body as this incredibly adaptable student that's just constantly analyzing the physical world, studying exactly how to overcome the challenges you throw it at it. So it all starts with this one fundamental question, right? How do muscles actually grow? Imagine you walk into a gym for the first time. You lift weights, your muscles are burning, you go home totally sore. Then, something pretty incredible happens. A few weeks later, you're noticeably stronger. A few months later, your muscles visibly look bigger. But what's the actual mechanism there? Like, does lifting weights magically inflate your muscles like a balloon? Are they just somehow filling up with more muscle tissue out of thin air? Or is there something way deeper happening right beneath the surface? Well, here's our syllabus for today's explainer. We're going to cover 1. The anatomy of a muscle. 2. The workout stress test. 3. Cellular repair and synthesis. 4. The hypertrophy process. 5. The power of rest. And finally, 6. Overcoming the growth plateau. Let's dive in. All right, starting with section 1, anatomy of a muscle, or as we're calling it, the biological student. To get started, the sheer scale of our anatomy is just staggering. The average human body contains more than 600 muscles. And together, this massive network does way more than just, look good at the beach. They literally help you move, they maintain your posture, they protect your vital organs, and they even produce heat. But here's the absolute crucial point for today. Muscles aren't just these fixed, static slabs of meat that stay exactly the same from the day you're born. Actually, they're made of thousands of tiny, highly specialized cells bundled together into fibers. And inside these fibers are microscopic structures that are perfectly designed to slide past one another to create movement and contract to generate force. So whenever you walk, run, jump, or lift something heavy, these fibers are going to work. And because they're dynamic, living tissues, they are constantly adapting to the specific demands you place on them. They're literally always ready to learn. Which brings us to section 2. The workout stress test, signaling the need for change. It's a super common misconception that the workout itself builds the muscle. That actually flips reality totally upside down. If the muscle is our student, physical exertion is basically the difficult study session, or like a really tough final exam. The workout actually creates the need for repair. Imagine you're lifting a heavy dumbbell. Your muscles are forced to generate significantly more force than they usually do, right? Well, this intense effort creates stress inside those tiny muscle fibers we just talked about, and that leads to microscopic damage. But don't worry, this damage is completely normal. In fact, it's the mandatory signal that triggers growth. Think of it like a busy road carrying a ton of heavy traffic. The heavy traffic causes these small cracks to develop in the asphalt. The road isn't destroyed, but it's clearly signaling that, hey, we need some repairs here if we're going to handle this level of traffic. Your muscles respond in the exact same way. The stress test forces your body to recognize a physical weakness. Moving right along to section 3, cellular repair and synthesis, synthesizing new knowledge. So here is the exact biological, chronological process of how your body handles this. Step 1, like we just discussed, microscopic damage occurs during the workout. Step 2, pretty much immediately after your workout ends, your body gets to work by activating these special cells called satellite cells. Think of these guys as your biological construction workers. They travel straight to the damaged areas and fuse with the existing fibers to help rebuild them. Then, step 3, your body ramps up a process called protein synthesis. It takes protein molecules and basically assembles them into brand new muscle tissue. And by the way, this right here is exactly why dietary protein is so incredibly important for anyone who's physically active. Foods rich in protein provide the literal, physical building blocks that these satellite cells need to repair those fibers, making them just a little bit thicker and stronger than they were before. And that leads us to this really beautiful realization. If your muscle could somehow speak after repairing itself, it would basically tell you, if you need this much strength again, I'll be ready. The muscle is physically learning from that stress test. By making the repaired fiber thicker and stronger, your biology is essentially studying for the next exam, making absolutely sure that the heavy weight that damaged it yesterday won't be able to damage it tomorrow. How cool is that? Let's look at section 4, the hypertrophy process, expanding capacity. This is where our biological student really expands their total capacity for sheer physical mastery. Formally, this is called muscle hypertrophy. It's defined as an increase in existing muscle fiber size rather than the creation of brand new fibers. Now, I really want to bust a major myth right here. When your muscles get bigger, contrary to what a lot of people think, your body is not magically creating thousands of brand new muscle fibers. Nope, you work with the fibers you already have. Instead, as more proteins are added during that repair process we talked about, those existing individual fibers simply grow larger and thicker. Eventually, as hundreds of thousands of fibers expand their capacity, well, the changes become visible from the outside. This is exactly why athletes, bodybuilders, and strength trainers have larger muscles. Their bodies have spent years consistently adapting to repeated training, thickening those exact same existing fibers over and over again. That brings us to Section 5, the power of rest, consolidating the gains. Okay, so just like a real student needs sleep to consolidate short-term memory into long-term learning, your muscles have a strictly enforced rest requirement. There is a massive biological contrast here that you really need to understand. The workout phase is entirely about stress, microdamage, and sending that growth stimulus. But the recovery phase, that is where sleep, protein synthesis, and the actual muscle growth occur. This is a huge revelation for a lot of people. Your muscles do not grow while you are lifting weights in the gym. They grow while you're at home, recovering in bed. Let's break down exactly what happens biologically when you rest. During sleep, your body actively releases growth-related hormones. On top of that, protein synthesis vastly increases and cellular repair accelerates. So, consequently, if you don't give your body enough rest, you're interrupting this entire process. This means that overtraining actually slows down your progress. Seriously, skipping rest days is exactly like trying to learn a super complex new subject while being severely sleep deprived. It just doesn't work, and it completely stalls your progress. Professional athletes know this better than anyone. The training simply creates the stimulus, but the recovery, that creates the actual growth. All right, our final section, Section 6, overcoming the growth plateau, advancing to the next grade. Now, if you've ever started a workout routine, you've probably noticed that as a beginner, you gain strength really quickly. But later on, that progress just suddenly slows down. You've hit a plateau. To keep learning, you have to advance to the next grade. The solution here is a concept called progressive overload. Basically, this means gradually increasing the challenge through more weight, more repetitions, or more resistance to force continuous adaptation. Remember, your body adapts to the specific stress you give it. So that exact same workout that heavily challenged your muscles on day one, eventually it becomes easy because your muscles have learned the material. They built the strength to handle it. If you just keep lifting that exact same weight forever, the muscle has absolutely no biological reason to keep growing. And here is exactly why that escalation is so necessary. The body is basically the ultimate energy-saving machine. Building and maintaining extra muscle requires a lot of biological energy and calories. Your body really doesn't want to waste energy building muscle it doesn't strictly need to survive. It will only adapt when adaptation is an absolute necessity. Therefore, to force long-term progress and real transformation, you have to consistently provide new, increasingly difficult challenges. You literally have to keep upgrading the difficulty of the exams. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final thought to chew on. What will your next stress test teach your muscles? We've seen today how exercise, proper protein nutrition, and dedicated rest form one of biology's most incredible rebuilding systems. Every single workout sends a clear message. Every meal provides the vital building materials. And every single night of sleep supports the recovery that actually transforms you. So the next time you pick up a weight, just remember that you aren't just exercising. You're teaching your body how to become a stronger, more capable version of itself. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. And remember, never stop asking questions, because every great discovery begins with a little bit of curiosity. See you next time.